Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multidimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Welcome to the Empower Me Show. My name is Pam Bright. I am so glad you're here. And look who it is. Remember him?
Hello.
He's my partner. He's my spirit partner for life, David Buck.
Nice to be here again.
I am so glad that you're here. And yes, we are going to bring you an amazing hour episode to talk about energy and the universe and woo-woo and all that good stuff. Because, you know, we just love to do that. And so we are going to start out with David introducing us to the world of spirit with a little bit of meditation from him. So take it away, my dear.
Well, what I'm going to start with is that I didn't always consider myself an energetic or spiritual person. A lot of this belief has come up over the last 3 or 4 decades, and very slowly. But now I feel like a fully integrated spiritual being having a human experience, which is one of the ideas behind this show. And so we're going to be talking about several things, including expanded consciousness, and I'll tell you what I believe that to be a little later on to the show. But I want to encourage you to, if you're driving, you can still do this exercise without closing your eyes. But if you can, close your eyes for just a moment and imagine that you have more than one self, that you have your physical body self, that you have your spiritual aura self, which is surrounding your body. You've got an expanded self, which includes the people and things around you. And you've got a spirit body self or higher self that is somewhere else than your proximity, but it's closer than even the clothes that you're wearing. So it's an interesting irony and a bit of a dichotomy, but I feel that it's true. All of these cells, I believe, make up your expanded consciousness, and you can connect to any one of them at any time. So just take a moment and listen for what one of those other selves, other than your active brain, is trying to tell you right now. Listen carefully, and you can find the answers. And that's just sort of an intro to that. Is there something you would like to add?
So what I add to that is go ahead and use the power of your sensors, okay? So you have your hearing, okay? We're using our eyes to close right now, for those of you who can. For those of you who don't use your physical eyes, use your third eye. This is your psychic eye right here, okay? That connects you to these other selves that David is talking about, these other expanded versions of you that are connected to every other energy system outside of your physical self. Connect in with those, and your fingertips that can sense energy and vibration. So connect in with those other parts of the spiritual world, the energy world, if you will, and just allow those sensors to connect in with that part of you that can receive that information. So I imagine myself reaching out to my future self or selves, my past selves, my parallel selves, those parts of me that have never known myself in this lifetime, but all of those different versions of me. And what I'm hearing is that we're all connected. And anytime I feel disconnected, I can simply ask that the perfect, the most prevalent, the most wise parts of myself that I'm missing, I claim them back, I ask them and invite them to come back in. So you can do that anytime, anywhere. Just invite them to come back in. And I also, because I am absolutely connected to the love and light in all ways, even those parts of myself that I feel are dark or negative or scary, I ask the love and light to go right into the center of those experiences and give me the gift of what those experiences were. And I call that wisdom into myself now. So that is an exercise that I recommend highly. I love that because we're pulling together all of the what's called the multiverse, right? All the multidimensional selves of you into this now.
So just before the show, I was thinking about a concept that I had you look up, actually. And I wanted, it was, and I'm not going to be able to speak about it with great authority, but it's this idea that energy is not created by us. It's only exchanged. And it's hard to wrap your mind around that because, well, you know, I create my own energy and energy fields, right? And, you know, like all the concepts we present on this show, see what works for you, see what fits, see what inspires you, see what connects you to something beyond, because whatever that is, it's for you alone. And it's a combination of all the things you've encountered in your life. And this idea has a name and there's a scientific principle behind it. So what is that?
It's the conservation of energy. And it's the law of conservation of energy. What it says is the law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form of energy to another. This means that a system, so think of your body as a system, right? You're a whole system, always has the same amount of energy that it always has had, unless that energy is added from the outside. So consider this, okay? Now, it's really all about perspective, isn't it? So if you believe that you are isolated from other people, then you cannot change yourself, can change your energy unless you connect to someone else. Consider that.
Someone or something,
or
some
right,
other force.
Some other force. So when I connect to this man beside me, I'm allowing other energy that is outside of my physical self into my world, right? When I say, okay, I don't have the answers right now to this question, and I read a book, or I listen to some music, or I say a prayer, I am asking some other energy to come into where I live inside of me. I'm inviting it in, right? Does this make sense?
It's making sense to me. Here's what's coming up for me. And we present information on this show that we would define in some ways as universal truths
Mhm.
because we've had the experiences that make that a true statement for us. It may not, but it is not the truth for you unless you take it on as the truth for you. And a great example of this is divine timing, that things happen for a reason at the time that they do in your life so you can learn from them. And the interesting thing about divine timing is if you come to find that that's true and you didn't believe in it before, well, what is to say that it hasn't always been true, that there are forces that are guiding you to this moment?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you live your life as a spiritual being, having a human experience, this world that we're talking about, of the spiritual world of energy, is available to you. So your world, for many, when they are just experiencing their human existence without anything else, any other beliefs that are guiding them, the world is a little small. My experience when I'm not connected, and I have been connected for a very long time. So the times in my life when I was disconnected from a spiritual source, when I was unconscious about that spiritual source, my life was very, very chaotic and confusing. And it was a little small because I wasn't allowing anybody else to support me. No people, no God, no animals, no nothing. And so I myself, me, myself, and I was all that existed for me in my life. So life was like very tiny. When I allowed a God of my understanding, which I didn't understand, to then help me in my life, everything started opening. So that takes me to when I first met this guy. And many of you who have been following me for a while have heard the story of when I first saw him. And when there was a force that was working that I didn't understand at the time, that I still don't really understand, but it guides me in my daily life.
Well, I didn't understand it either, and it's different than it might seem. Like it was true love at first sight and all of that, romantic notions, and there were elements of that bloomed and blossomed over time, but it was something different. And I believe that it still guides us to be together 20-some years later. And it was a spiritual force. It was an awakening. And Pam used to be a massage therapist. And I was on the receiving end of one of your massages. And I had a spiritual experience that I can describe, but I can't explain. And I never had it before, and I haven't had it to this extent since, except that it became part of me. And when we had the session, I can only explain it like this. For a moment, I experienced everything. Everywhere. It's like that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I had that experience. This was in 1999, before I had this awareness of an expanded consciousness. And I used to think of psychic people as, wow, that's kind of strange. So like, how could someone connect into universal energies and get any sort of information? So I wanted to believe like Mulder, but I was skeptical as well. And so when I had this moment of expanded awareness and consciousness, as I could describe it to you now, it was an awakening, and like as if something had been lain dormant in me for a long time and just was awakened. And that was a big part of our connection, I think.
Well, what I can tell you is that in 1999, I was really just beginning my awakening. I had lots of different experiences in my life and lots of different teachers that had come in to my life, and mostly from 1984 to 1999, most of those things was still out there. So other people, other teachers they had the answers. They were the experts. They were the ones that could give me what I needed. There wasn't a sense of that there was any power going on inside of me. There really wasn't any understanding of when I connected to this thing I called Reiki energy, what was really transpiring was this connection to everything. That didn't come until much later in my life. So to hear this story about David, I didn't even know this when I first met him and when he was on my table. What I knew is that I wanted to give him an experience, which is what I did as a massage therapist. And I was able to go to people. I set up shop and I had my table and I had specific things that I had available, like certain colors and certain music and
Candles.
And I made an experience for people.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think you did one other thing too. We're going to take a break in a moment and come back and answer your questions if you have them. And we'll talk about how you can connect to us to ask those questions. But I think the other element, the other aspect, force that was at work was your intention. You intended to create an experience. You intended to create this atmosphere. You intended to help with my healing. And it's interesting, even in the TV episode we saw today, someone mentioned something about that as a counselor, I can't forget that the healing won't end until it does. There's no way to rush to the end of healing, something like that.
That was so brilliant to hear that too, because as a teacher, a spiritual teacher and a coach, and a healer, often I want to see what's going to happen out here, right? What did it like? You know, as healers, we think, okay, we're going to heal that system, then we're going to heal that pain. We're going to heal that issue, right? And sometimes we don't even know what the issue is. And so people get into their healing mode, right? And they do their thing and just like, well, what's the end, right? When my experience is when I let go of the thing that it is, like the symptom, and I simply allow the healing that exists within the energy field. The energy is smart. It will go wherever it's needed to heal anybody that it needs to heal. And healing is a whole other topic that we could expand on.
Yeah.
We really could. But when, this is my point with this, somewhere along my journey, I got these different tools into my tool belt, and somewhere along the line, and it may have happened when I had my near-death experience in my 10-day coma, it might have happened then when I came back and something had shifted to the point of I no longer had to prove myself to anyone. I simply allowed myself to open to the healing that was already in existence, the wholeness within us. We're going to be right back, and we're going to take your calls.
How can they get a hold of us?
1-800-930-2819 is our phone call for you. You can call into Transformation Talk Radio, and Colton will take your call, and we will be able to talk to you. You can also chat on the chat line at Transformation Talk Radio and find us that way, and we'll get your information and have a dialogue with you. And so we'll be right back to do that after this break. back to the Empower Me show. I am here with my sweetheart, David Buck.
Hello.
And yes, if you followed me from the beginning, David used to be my co-host, and then things switched because life happens, right, in our world. And so now he is my special guest.
Yes.
So yes, life happens when you have a teenager.
Yeah.
And we love our teenagers so much, and they are getting ready to graduate in a few months.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And terrifying. So and it's okay, right? Because I live in the world of perfection, and it doesn't mean that I am perfect all the time. It means that I am perfectly imperfect in every way, as Mary Poppins would say. And it's really awesome, because when we are in the world of being perfectly imperfect, that anything that you want or need in life can happen right now, out of your intention and out of your words.
It's an aspect of divine timing. It's interesting. I mean, you could have a whole series on the ramifications of believing in divine timing, that things happen for a reason when they do, and not before and not after. So you can learn from them what you need to in that moment. I have a question I wanted to ask you, because the image behind us, and we should describe that for anyone who is listening or can't see the image. It's a being. If you move to that side a little bit, you can see, not that far. It's a being.
You can see the colors.
It's like a human that has the chakras in the middle of them, and you could talk a little bit about that. And then there's wings, and then there are layers, and there's aspects of this that go into sacred geometry. But basically what I get from it, and there's an aura around it, there's a glow around that being, and it's expanding. It's going beyond the physical form. So tell us, what do you see from it?
Okay, so this is what I have learned over the years about the physical form and what is available inside of ourselves when we expand our view of, I am not just flesh and bones, I am more than that. Then we get to the world of energy, and the energy within me that allows all of my systems to function. Okay. So we go beyond that to, well, what made us then, right? How did I get here? I believe I got here because a source, a God, if you will, a creator, a universal mind, a universal being said, this is the story I actually heard years ago, and I took it on because I love it, is that this universal being said, I want to experience myself. And so it made human beings, it made animals, it made plant life, it made the beings of the ocean, all the different creatures, all the different plant life. It made all of these different things so that it could experience itself. And when I heard that, I just loved it. I feel like it makes so much sense to me.
I'm going to expand on that in a way that I never have considered before. It also made, extending that metaphor, if you will, it made joy, it made sorrow, it made pain, it made accomplishment, it made the ability for these beings that it made to experience these things. So in a way, it could consider and go, okay, I never thought about that before. Never imagined microchips. I never imagined the internet. I never imagined how much that would rip humanity apart at the same time that it brings people together in just this exact way.
Wow, that's really beautiful. So can we expand on that with this? I'm going to just tell a little story about one of the things that happened when I first met David, which is that I don't even know how it happened, but there was something about, I was very woo-woo. We call woo-woo the world of those of us who are talking a lot about the etheric, right? And David, I experienced as somebody who was very methodical, very analytical, very male. in who he was, and he is. And what was interesting to me is that David had this idea and this expanded consciousness that was very grounded. And I did not at all understand it because I was very ungrounded in my own self, right? And I know that you know what I'm talking about if you've been following me, because I do a lot of grounding for us at the beginning of the show so that we can, because I think in my world, I know in my world that I've got to be existing within this body. I cannot any longer check out. It's imperative for me to be conscious. So I every day bring my consciousness fully into where I live inside of my body. But tell the listeners what your experience is today, and also if it's changed at all, from how is energy in this table? What is your experience of consciousness right here?
Yeah, there's an interesting notion, and I've played with it a little bit over the years, and it has to do with energy and going back to that conservation of energy. That it can be transferred, but it can't be generated. It can be exchanged. And there's more about that. Like I said in the beginning, I can't speak with authority about it because I haven't studied that, but I feel like I've experienced it. So there's the notion. Consider for a moment the shirt that I'm wearing. And it's a beautiful shirt of a lion with it, just so multicolored. We got it. I got it for myself in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, when we went on the Star Trek cruise recently. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to have it. And lions haven't always been like a spirit guide for me. My spirit animals have been hawk and coyote, which is why my spirit name is Hawk-Coyote. And that's phonetically hawk and coyote together. And I don't mind telling you about that. Hawks are about vision. Coyotes are about playfulness and watchfulness in some ways. And so what was your question? About energy.
So the energy of everything, yes.
The energy of everything has energy. So the shirt was created by someone. And not just by someone, by 100 people. And imagine, if you will, that the energy of everyone and every thought that is going into this shirt, from the creation of the design to the painting of it, to the production of it, to the distribution of it, to the fact that it was carried in a suitcase that also had energy to created in this. And it looks like we have someone. We have Bobby on the line. We'll get to you in just a moment, Bobby. Hang on. That the energy of everyone who has had something to do with the fact that I'm wearing this shirt today, and even transmitting it to you, is still in existence, is still part of what I've come to believe is an expanded consciousness. And that it's not just coincidence. It's not just trivial. It's something that you can connect into. You can say, thank you for the designer. If I knew who actually created this design, I could reach out to them on social media and say, I love your design. I think it's great. My friend loves it too. Where can I get another one? So you can now, more than ever, because of the internet, connect to this expanded awareness and consciousness.
Yes, absolutely. And Bobby, we're going to be right with you. One more thing I want to add to that is that when we look at honoring, okay, I believe that honoring everything and everyone is more important today than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Especially in this world of confusion and chaos and really a lot of battering of energies, a lot of battering of people and ways of thinking and beliefs. It's vital that we honor every single thing that exists in this world. Because guys, again, I have said this so many times, we chose this. We chose to be here now. It's no mistake that you're here on the planet right now.
Right.
Okay. So with that, I'd love to hear from Bobby. How are you, honey?
All right, Bobby's coming right now.
Thank you.
Hey guys,
Hey, Bobby, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. It's been a little bit of a hard day because a month ago today I had to sign the do not resuscitate order for Charlie and sign her into the hospice house, and
Yeah.
it's not been it hasn't I mean it hasn't been a bad day, but it hasn't exactly been a good day, and I was wondering
Understand.
if I could get one of your yeah I was wondering if I could get a light language blessing, and maybe if you guys got any messages from her and Mary.
So here's what I want to share with you about our interaction with not only you and I, Bobby, because you and I have been working together for a long time, but what I believe is true about the world of spirit is that once we depart our physical bodies, then it's like I'm doing a Star Trek reference. Oh my gosh. The shapeshifters that go into what they call the big link, right?
The Great Link.
The Great Link. Okay. They have forms, and then they go into this big ooze, and then the ooze becomes one with the collective, right? So the collective energy that exists in the world is what I believe we get to do once we die. So the energy of who you knew as Charlie and who you have been connected with as Mary is now part of this big connected link of energy that exists as spirit.
I'd like to add something to that. And, I don't mean this to be disrespectful in any way. In fact, you could take it on as it's a message of the deepest respect, that your experience of Charlie has always and will always be a part of yourself. So you haven't lost anything in that respect, because you can reconnect to at every moment, and the best moments you choose how you connect to that person and your experience of them.
Yeah. The other thing I can tell you is that now you showed me a picture of Charlie, and what I can tell you is, even if I had not seen that, what I experience of Charlie and Mary is that they are right here, right now, and that they are always connected to you
in this present moment.
And I have this vision, this sense of them, this visual sense of them, that they are beings that are like overseeing all of your interactions. Okay. So anytime, anywhere, for any of you that know that you have spirit guides, or don't even know that you have spirit guides, you can simply ask that those beings that are ready to help you in your life simply step forward.
What I'm also getting to tell you, and it may sound, I don't know, however it's going to sound. Life is a journey, death is a journey, and those who remain alive when others die is a third kind of journey, and it's an honoring journey. It's a journey that you can celebrate. So it can expand your awareness, your consciousness of how you consider your relationship to that person to be, if that makes some sense.
Yeah. It's like what we've talked about, that you feel that you and Charlie have a better relationship now than you did when she was alive. That is a true statement. That is a true statement, because see, you don't have Charlie's ego in the way. You don't have the human ailments and human problems and issues of separation between the two of you that existed. Now you can simply connect spirit to spirit without the worry of judgment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. There's another thing that's coming up for me, and it's this issue of there is no separation except that which you put in front of you. Some of those separations, like boundaries, can be healthy. So it's healthy to create a sense of separation. It's important that a parent separate from their child. It's important that even Pam and I, we have separate times, separate lives, separate belief systems. That's healthy. And so there's also a healthy connection that we share. So there's no separation except that which you put there for healthy purposes, and finding that balance and those kind of aspects is your opportunity.
Yep. Yep. So, so you and I have talked a lot, Bobby, about my experience with my father once he passed. He died last year in March. And it's an interesting transition from dealing with someone that's alive to then dealing with someone with Alzheimer's, and then dealing with them when they are able to talk, and then dealing with them when they are not in form anymore. So it's been a very interesting transition for me to now be at a place of I'm still connecting to him. But I'm connecting to him because I say him when he's not actually a him or a her. He's a them. He's an everywhere, right? He's connected to all of the different energies that exist in the world. And yet we can still connect. And so my invitation is to get out of the world of having to understand what's actually happening in this second. It's your interpretation of what's happening right now. It's your experience of what's happening right now. And if you have a question about is this person here now, simply ask, are you here now? Can I experience you now?
And the wild truth, for you may be, yes, absolutely, of course, because you have a deep connection to that person. And everyone that is listening to this, you have a connection still to those people, the elders, the ancestors, the grandparents, and you even have a connection to your forebears, the people that came before you. Absolutely, we do. Everything is built upon what has come before and what is coming next, and it's not necessarily always linear. We think of existence like this as linear.
Yeah.
It really isn't, and that's a big piece of expanded consciousness.
Well, and I just remembered something that I heard. I either read it or heard it from somewhere that each individual person is a part of every other person. When you bring it down to the DNA and into the microscopic level, like looking into a microscope, like we're all part of each other. So there really is no separation. There is really no individuality, except on the egoic level. On the egoic level,
it's important that we go on individual journey. It's important that we set up boundaries. It's important that we have distance and separation in a way. But it's important that we understand that we're the ones that put that there. It's healthy to do that.
Yeah.
But we can, remove those barriers. Too.
Yeah. So let's see. So is there a certain direction or certain question or certain focus that you want the light beings to bring in for you today?
Just that I would feel Charlie and Mary more. And I did ask if they were here, and I heard a whole bunch of yeses.
Yes, because you have a lot of guidance, sweetie. You've got, as I said, you've got all of the angels that are working with you, they're all there. They're all there. They're always with you. And the only separation is that you are in physical form. It's the only separation. Okay. So
Yeah.
for those that are wondering if there's another person, Bobby has vocal helpers to assist him in his life. So that's what you're hearing in the background. So we don't need to worry about that.
Sorry.
Just imagine that they are beings of light that are with him now and with all of us. And so we now bring in the beings of light in full for Bobby, and bringing in all of the legions of angels that are guiding him now. We ask that all the beings that are ready to make themselves known to Bobby, make all of the availability present for him. Touch his face, touch his arms, really let him feel you in whatever way works for him. Nasanaye kadasei. Anase ena sanana euma imama iyama tanaseya nehi. We ask the angels of comfort to surround him now. And we ask the specialists that work with next steps also come in to assist Bobby now. Nasanta titanamate anamatikia eyumu amayusuma achena sinta andaya seneke anasaneke ya eya konesa iya. And just receive that into every cell of your body now, knowing that you are totally guided in all ways by all beings that love you. And so it is.
We are coming.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in today. We've got a few
Love you
more
guys.
minutes.
Thank you, Bobby, sweetie. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Love you guys. All
Love
right.
you too. We've got a few more minutes, and I want to say a few more things. I want to let you know that on the Empower Me show, things may be changing over the next few months. There's so many exciting things happening for Pam. She can tell you a little bit about that. Want to invite you to write into the Empower Me show at gmail.com if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you have questions that you would like to have addressed on the show, or if you have a request like Bobby just did for a special healing or a message or a type of connection. Many things are possible here at the Empower Me show. And I want to talk a little bit more about the expanded consciousness. You mentioned the table. The energy of the people who designed the table still was retained within that table because they gave a part of their effort and energy and time and design and thought and what's nice about it is that it's a testament to the fact that your efforts matter. Your efforts continue to exist beyond the time that you put into them and beyond the life that you leave here. Your efforts continue to matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to expand on that because I know some of you who are listening feel that you don't matter. And that's really for you to hear. You matter. It's important that you're here. Some of you feel like you're ready to give up. Some of you wonder why that person died. Some of you wonder why the world is in the state it's in. If it just all God exploded and we started over, we'd be better off. Time is universal. Time exists. And it's also been man-made. So, and universal time is perfect, whole, and complete, exactly as it is. So allow yourself to enjoy and honor, even if you're not happy right now, honor what is so right now in this moment, especially since you are a human being listening to these words. Honor the moment that you have. Honor the preciousness of life, even if it's difficult, even if you're afraid, even if you don't have any answers, even if, just be with what is. This moment is all there is.
Yeah, this is it. And it's interesting, the concept of this is it. This is the only moment that matters at the moment. But the next moment also does. And the moment that came before does. So the concept of this is it, this is all there is, can be a moment of despair, but it doesn't have to be. It's a moment of creation. And the other interesting thing about it is, if this is it, is this the first time that this is it? And the answer that I've come to is no, it's always been it, especially the times leading up to now, when I now believe that this is it. It's always been it. I've always been on this path to this moment.
I love that. I love that. So to bring people up to date with now, okay, so you had this amazing experience on the massage table in 1999. How has that image of the universe and that you're connected to everything, how has that, we have a few minutes, how has that guided you? That experience, that really, I would say it was a life lesson or a life expansion for you. How has that changed or shaped you in your life from then until now?
Well, it's changed everything because, as you said earlier, perspective is everything. And that gave me an expanded awareness, an expanded consciousness, an expanded perspective that there's more to life than this moment, that I think, that I'm right, that I know, that I feel, that I see, that I touch, that everything. It's there's more. I'm still learning. I need to be willing to learn, willing to change, willing to set boundaries, willing to step back, willing to step in, willing to step forward. All of it. It unlocked something. And that's what I think expanded awareness, expanded consciousness does for you, mostly because of one thing. It's not all up to me. I don't know it all. I don't have it all. I don't see it all. And that's okay.
It is okay. And thank you for that. Thank you for that reminder. As the individual that I am, I have definitely been through many different versions of myself in my lifetime. I would say the first half of my life, I was...
2 minutes.
Yes, I know. Thank you for that, honey. First half of my life, I was very unconscious and very afraid and very confused. Second half of my life now, I say second half, I'm going to keep living, but second half of my life, there will be a third half later, has really been expanding myself to include other energies outside of this physical body. Okay. That, I think, is the biggest journey, the most wonderful expanded journey that you could take on. And I hope that you continue to take it on with me, that we can journey together, that we can learn together, that we can grow together, that we can love and laugh and sing and cry together. That's my invitation to you.
Thank you so much for having me here again today. In the last minute that we have left, is there anything you want to leave people with or tell them?
Yes.
about what's coming up?
Love, love, love.
Yeah.
Love people.
Yeah.
Let yourself have light with people.
It's been said before, but that's what the world needs today.
Absolutely.
Is love.
So Bright Butterfly Enterprises is glad that you have joined me on the Empower Me show. You can go to brightbutterflynetwork.com to reach me anytime, or you can reach out to Transformation Talk Radio, the Empower Me show, and leave me a message there. We love you so much. Thanks
you,
so
David.
much
for. Oh, you're welcome.
So glad you're here.
Thanks so much for tuning in today.
We are going to connect in with you again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.